Hello, I'm Veronica from Dorcas Designs Sewing. Today I'm going to show you a sewing tip on how to do a zigzag. This is sewing tip number 5. If you'd like to see my previous videos, please feel free to click on the videos I've done before on how to do a straight stitch, how to sew in a line and so on. There's some useful videos there. Today I'm going to show you how to do a zigzag. Now, what do we use a zigzag for? We can use a zigzag for decorative purposes, or you can use them for neatening an edge of a seam. And today, that's what I'm going to be showing you. So first of all, my machine is previously threaded up, but if you'd like to know how to thread a sewing machine, please watch my previous video on how to thread a sewing machine. So, sewing machines basically work the same. Now this dial here, it's got letters on it, as you can see, A, B, C, D and so on. Now the letter A corresponds with the key on here. So A is for a straight stitch and B is also a straight stitch but towards the left of the needle, and the C is for a zigzag, and that's just the ones we're going to be talking about today, is a zigzag. And this dial here on the right is for with the numbers on it, it's for the length, the stitch length. So number 1 is 1 millimeter, number 2 is 2 millimeter, 3 is 3 millimeter, and so on. And today for the zigzag, I'll show you how to do the zigzag. I'm going to turn my dial to the zigzag stitch before I start. So on the C, near to the C there. And the width of this zigzag, which is going to be for neatening an edge, I'm going to put it on 1.5. I think that works best, a small zigzag for this. So I'm just going to turn my machine round. Bear with me a minute. So I'm going to switch the machine on. And again, first of all, I'd just like to test the machine, because you don't want to start setting it up and then start sewing and find it's made a mess of your project. So you almost always do a tester, hopefully on the same fabric, but I haven't got it at the moment, so I'm going to use a piece of fabric that's very similar, polyester. So I'm just going to start sewing the zigzag to make sure it works okay. So I've got it on C and 1.5 width, the length, sorry. Start sewing. Oh, and that's perfect. Perfect. I'll show you that. Perfect stitch, back and front. Lovely stitching. Look there, lovely. You can see the white because I'm using white so you can see it. If you use the same colour, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's just for demonstrative purposes why I've used white. Okay? So now here I've got a previously stitched seam, which I'm going to now neaten with a zigzag. I'm just going to, first of all going to do, I'm going to trim the ends off here. Because what the zigzag does, when you stitch a zigzag on the edge of a seam, it stops it from fraying. Can you see all this fraying here? All the things that will come out in the wash, and it won't look very nice when you wash it. So we do a zigzag to stop the fraying, minimise the fraying. So I'm just going to show you how to do that zigzag now on this edge of this seam. So what I do is I put it under the machine now, and what I do, you see this stitch length, this line here, this straight stitch. I'm going to line that up with the edge of this foot here. I don't know if you can see, there's a foot here. This is what we call the presser foot. I'm going to line that stitching up with the press. So here, for example, see, can you see there? As I'm putting it under the machine, the foot, I'm going to line this up along with here. Can you see that? So I'm going to start 0.5 centimetre in roughly. Put the foot down. Can you see it's lined up there? Can you still see that? It's lined up the edge here, and that's the line I'm going to be following. And the needle is going to stitch a few millimetres away. So let me just show you what I mean. So I start first, a couple of stitches, and I press my back reverse button, and then go forward again. So as I'm going, I'm not going too fast. I'm not looking at the needle or looking at to the right. I'm looking over here, ensuring that this straight stitch lines up with the edge of the foot. Because I want a nice parallel line of stitching. If I didn't look, it would go all over the place. But to keep it parallel, I'm lining this line up with the foot. Can you see that? Yep. Not too fast. Lining it up. I'm not watching over here or the needle, but just watch over here. There we go. And as we get half a centimetre to the end, press the back button forward. A couple of stitches. There we go. And take it out. So that's my zigzag stitch, neatening the edge. Now we don't stop there because there's something else you got to do. Because you wouldn't have your if you look in the shops, you wouldn't have your seam looking like that, would you? We know one more thing we need to do before we finish, and that is to trim off the excess fabric to neaten it, make it. We want everything we do in sewing. We want it to look nice and neat. We want it to look professional. We don't want it to look as if we've made it. So I'm going to show you what to do next, how to trim the edge. So I've hold my fabric in my hand like this, and I've got a pair of trimming scissors like this. Small scissors will do. And I start cutting near to the edge of the zigzag, not right over it or right next to it, because you don't want to cut the stitch in. Just really close to it though, and I trim it down like that. And if you can see here, I'll show you in a minute again. This is what I'm doing. See, I'm not cutting it off. I'm cutting near to the edge. We want to make it look nice and neat, not too close. So you cut the stitch in. Just keep going. There, you can see what I'm doing there. Can you see that in the camera? And just keep going right. Oops. Go right to the end. There we go. Nearly there. I've done that now. So there, see how nice and neat that looks? That's how you want your seam. Nice and neat, we're aiming for neatness. So, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something new. Don't forget to join me back with one of my sewing tips again. Thank you for watching.